I cannot and will not throw away all the gains we have made together, and so the changes we are making are limited and cautious. It's thanks to the caution we've shown so far that all 5 tests are being met. And that's not my achievement or the government's achievement, it is your achievement. It's only possible thanks to your resolve and dedication to our national purpose to overcome this virus. So, the result is we can move forward with adjusting the lockdown in England on Monday. First, as I set out on Sunday, we will now reopen schools to more children. Closing schools has deprived children of their education, and as so often, it is the most disadvantaged pupils who risk being hardest hit. On Monday, we will start to put this right in a safe way by reopening nurseries and other early years settings and reception Year 1 and Year 6 in primary schools. A fortnight later, on the 15th of June, secondary schools will begin to provide some face-to-face contact time for Years 10 and 12. Second, we will also start to reopen shops as we restart our economy, and we'll begin on Monday with outdoor retail and car showrooms where social distancing is generally easier. And a fortnight later, on the 15th of June, we intend to reopen other non-essential retail, but only provided the 5 tests are still being met and shops have been made COVID secure. Lastly, I know the toll that lockdown has taken on families and friends who've been unable to see each other. So from Monday, we will allow up to 6 people to meet outside, provided those from different households continue strictly to observe social distancing rules by staying 2 meters apart. At the moment, as you know, people can meet in parks, but not in private gardens, and this was a cautious first step. But we know that there is no difference in the health risk. So we will now allow people to meet in gardens and other private outdoor spaces. These changes mean that friends and family can start to meet their loved ones, perhaps seeing both parents at once or both grandparents at once. And I know that for many people this will be a long-awaited and joyful moment. But I must stress that to control the virus, everyone needs to stay alert, act responsibly, strictly observe social distancing rules, and stay 2 meters apart from those you do not live with. Minimizing contact with others is still the best way to prevent transmission. You should also try to avoid seeing people from too many households in quick succession so that we can avoid the risk of quick transmission from lots of different families and continue to control the virus. And it remains the case that people should not be inside the homes of their friends and families, not inside the homes of your friends and families, unless it is to access the garden, to get to the garden. I should add that at this stage, I am afraid that those who have been asked to shield themselves should continue to do so. And I want to say to those extremely clinically vulnerable people who are now being shielded that I do understand how difficult this has been for you especially. And I want to thank you for all the efforts you have gone to, because your actions have helped the NHS to cope. We're looking carefully at how we can make your life easier and how we can better support you, and we want to say more on that soon. I want to reassure everyone that we can make all of the changes I have outlined in a safe way. We know that children, and particularly young children, are much less likely to be seriously affected by the virus. We know that if shops enforce social distancing as required, by our COVID secure guidelines, then the virus is less likely to spread. And crucially, we know that transmission of the virus is far lower outdoors, so we can confidently allow more interaction outside. I understand that people will have questions as to how to do all of this safely, and we will publish guidance on these changes to help people, to help you make the most of them. Now, I know inevitably that there may be some anomalies or apparent inconsistencies in these rules, and clearly what we're proposing is still just a fraction of the social interaction each of us would normally enjoy. I know many of you will find this frustrating, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm afraid that is unavoidable, given the nature of the invisible enemy that we are fighting. It's a complex problem, and we're asking for everyone's patience as we work through it together. We will inevitably not get everything right first time, but I must ask everyone to remember that it's the same patience, the same hard work and sacrifices of the British people in lockdown that have got us so far and allowed us to make the progress that we have. By protecting the NHS, getting us through the peak and getting this virus under control, we are able to deliver all of the adjustments and easing of restrictions I have set out today. These adjustments are most of those we set out to achieve in step 2 of our roadmap, and we have also been able to have them in place by June the 1st, as we had hoped. And there's no doubt that we're making progress, and I'm hopeful that in the coming weeks we may be able to do more. Because obviously, while protecting the health and safety of the public is and must always be our #1 priority, we must also work to restart our economy and society so as many people as possible can begin returning to their way of life. But I want to reaffirm that fundamental commitment to the British people that all the steps we have taken and will take are conditional. They are conditional on all the data and all the scientific advice. And it is that scientific advice which will help us to judge what we are doing is safe. And I have to warn you, in all frankness, as we go forwards, that there will be further local outbreaks. So we will monitor what is going on very carefully. We will put on the brakes as required, and where necessary, we will reimpose measures. And it's very important to be clear about that up front.